I need like a quart of this to go.
Welcome to Rachel and David's Travel and Adventures, and for part 3 of our day in Charleston. For Rachel's birthday, I arranged for us to take a short journey to Charleston, South Carolina. Our goal for these videos is to show you what you can see and do in Charleston, even if you're here for a day. Along the way, we hope to share some history, information, and tips about these different locations in case you want to visit them yourself. In parts 1 and 2, we visited Fort Moultrie, Fort Sumter, the Charleston City Market, along with 2 colonial-era churches. In this episode, we are going to head downtown towards the Battery to walk around some additional sites, take in dinner at one of the top-ranked restaurants in Charleston, and watch the sunset on the Battery. After a drink and a snack from our last episode, we came to the Dock Street Theater at 135 Church Street. In 1736, the original Dock Street Theater was opened. It was the first building in the 13 colonies to be built for theatrical performances. In fact, the first performance was on February 12, 1736. It opened with a play written by George Purquois called The Recruiting Officer. The first structure most likely burned down. The current building was constructed in 1809 as a hotel, but it was converted back to a theater in 1935. The building was listed on the National Registry of Historic Places in 1973. Today it is owned by the city and it puts on a number of performances each year. We didn't go inside, but we found this side entrance to a quaint little garden area beside the theater. One street over you can find the Old Slave Mart Museum at 6 Chalmers Street. Located in this building was the last slave auction facility in South Carolina. In 1856, City Councilman Thomas Ryan opened the Ryan Slave Mart as a privately owned business after the city of Charleston banned public slave auctions. It remained in business until approximately 1863. In 1865, Union Army troops occupied the city, and the slaves jailed up in the building were freed, and the Ryan's Mart closed permanently. Today, the museum interprets the history of the slave trade in the city as a way to never forget the sins of our past. Right down the street from the Slave Mart Museum at 17 Chalmers Street is a building known as the Pink House. The Pink House is one of the oldest buildings in the city, going back to the 16 or 1700s. It has been used for various businesses in its history, from a tavern to a brothel to a law office and then an art gallery. I would love to know more about the details about what was said and done behind these walls over the 300 plus years that this building has been standing. Heck, it even survived many hurricanes and earthquakes in its past. From the Pink House, you go about 2 blocks toward Charleston's Battery when you come to East Bay Street. From 79 to 107 East Bay Street, you will enjoy walking and viewing the houses on Rainbow Road. These buildings were constructed in 1740 for merchants, with the first floor to be used for the business while the second floor would be the home of the owner. These buildings didn't always look this way. In fact, after the Civil War, the buildings became run down and it was not considered to be a desirable place to live. However, in 1931, Judge Lionel Legg and his wife purchased a section of houses on East Bay Street. Dorothy, his wife, was the one that decided to paint the houses a pastel pink to make the area look better, and the neighbors joined in with their own pastel colors, which now makes Rainbow Row an unmistakable part of Charleston's history. There have always been theories as to the color changes of Rainbow Row. One theory was that the pastel colors would help drunk sailors find their way home easier. One believed that the different colors indicated which items were sold in each building, and one other theory was that the lighter colors would help keep the buildings cool in the hot summer months. Just across the street, at the end of Rainbow Row, is America's oldest liquor store. Located at 120 East Bay Street is the Tavern, which has been selling fine spirits since 1686. During Prohibition, the building fronted as a barbershop, where you could get a haircut and some hair tonic. In a second room of the building, there was a trap door that would go below the building, and it was used as a tunnel system in which to deliver whiskey and other liquors during this time. Right next to the tavern is the old Exchange and Provost Dungeon. The building was constructed in 1767 and completed in 1771. It was operated by the British forces during the Revolutionary War as a prisoner of war facility. It also housed the South Carolina Convention to ratify the United States Constitution in 1788. After our day of walking around, it was time for dinner. Just down the street from the old Exchange and Provost Dungeon at 162 East Bay Street is a restaurant called Revival. At the time of this video, it is listed as number 4 of the places to eat in Charleston on TripAdvisor. For drinks, I like to try locally made beers, and I had the Westbrook One Claw Pale Ale that comes from a brewer in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Rachel had the drink called the Corpse Bride, which is made from Kettle One vodka, Saint Germain, Dolan Block, lemon, and absinthe. And hey, I had one for dessert too. It was that good. For an appetizer, she had the she crab soup. Unlike other versions of sheet crab soup, this one was filled with giant chunks of crab meat. Yum!
I need like a quart of this to go.
I had the fried oysters with cornmeal and a tasso mock choix made of that delicious tasso ham, corn, tomatoes, and heaven knows what else. The oysters were just a touch spicy, and that mac chow was a perfect complement. Rachel's entree was the forbidden shrimp and grits, with the grits being made of forbidden black rice. This led to an unusual version of shrimp and grits, but with a creamy risotto-like texture. I had the Low Country Perlou, which included buttered poached lobster, crab, shrimp on top of Carolina Gold Pego, which is a lightly scorched rice. What an amazing meal, and how lucky we were to get reservations. The Revival is a must-go if you come to Charleston. If you have any other suggestions for restaurants, please share them in the comments below. We close out our evening by going down to the Battery to watch the sunset and the boats on the water. I have always found sunsets out west to be breathtaking, but this one is right up there as far as its beauty. We've had a fantastic day here in Charleston. If you get a chance to visit this area, please do so. There are a lot more things to see and do here that we didn't get around to showing you. We just touched on the possibilities of what you can see, do, and eat in Charleston. Leave a comment below about what you think of Charleston, or if you have any further advice. If you got any value out of this video, please smash the like button and subscribe, and we will see you again on our next adventure.